Hello everyone and welcome back to Oblivion, a Minecraft Let's Play. My name is RedWolf416 and this is my forever world. Now if you haven't already guessed it from where I'm standing and from the hints that I gave in the previous videos, we are going to be building a lighthouse today, right here where I'm standing. I did spend a lot of time gathering resources, and once I started looking at them and trying to use them, I realized that I didn't really like all the white concrete and the diorite and the calcite that I was planning on using. So I had to go into my creative world and come up with a different plan, and it means that most of these are trash. Well, maybe not trash, but I'm not going to use a lot of these. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to build the base. I do have the materials for building the base, and then I have to go find a skeleton spawner because one of the major materials that I'm going to be using is bone blocks. So I don't want this to be a really large lighthouse. I've made those before and they just took up way too much space, looked a little out of place. So I'm going to keep this as a pretty small footprint here. It's not designed to be a living place for whoever tends the lighthouse. It's not like it's on a deserted island or anything like that. There are going to be people around from the village who can come and look at it. So we're going to keep it to about this size footprint on the interior here and build up from there. So for now, the base is just going to be tough, intermixed with some mossy stone and mossy stone brick, and then some stone brick. And I have to figure out exactly where I want the weathering to be. So what I'm thinking is this is the north side over here, and we've got east, west. This is also leading out towards the ocean. I'm saying that this is more in the northern hemisphere if a Minecraft world were to have hemispheres, in which case this side will get a little bit less sunlight and be more prone to just wear and tear from the ocean and moss growing on it. So this is probably the north side, and the northwest side is probably where we're going to see more of the weathering. I do want there to be an entrance over here, and I will make this a little bit more variated here once we get the walls started on building them up. But for now, this is what we're going to go with. Stand by and we'll get a little bit more of this made, and I'll update you in a minute. Well, so far it looks like I've gone about as far as I can on the base here without going and getting more resources. I need to get myself some more birch, and I need to get myself some more oak, I believe, but I especially need to get sand and bone blocks. And I know where I can source some sand to make sandstone. However, I need to go on the hunt for a skeleton spawner so that I can actually get a good supply of bones and therefore bone meal and bone blocks. Now, this is where I'm running into a little bit of a dilemma. This is my personal forever world. No one else is going to be playing on this. It's just me, and I'm trying to keep true to the spirit of survival Minecraft and not lean on chunk base too much. But sometimes there are things that are just really hard to track down, like a skeleton spawner, unless you use chunk base. So I am probably going to use chunk base to get a general idea of where a skeleton spawner is, probably near my starter island if I can. And then in a stream, I will probably be building a skeleton spawner trap so that I can get the bone meal for this. I also need to track down, I believe I have a mangrove propagule. So I do need to start growing some mangrove wood because I want to make some stripes on this lighthouse tower that are going to be more reddish tint, but look a little bit weathered. So I'm planning on using the mangrove wood for that. But for now, this is what I've got on the base. I will update you in a little bit when I've got a better source of bone meal and some sandstone. Well, here I am at my quick and dirty skeleton spawner trap, and it is working much better than I ever expected it would. While I was working on my day job today, I just had this AFK for a few hours, and here's some of the loot that I got when I would go and actually kill them with my sword. I have been able to get this many bone blocks from them so far, and I have nearly a full double chest of arrows. So this thing is far more effective than I could have hoped it would be. I wasn't going for the most efficient farm, but it's pretty efficient. Happy accident. I was trying to get them to die just as soon as they fell or leave them at one hit. And I kind of forgot about entity cramming. So what I've got here is I get a collection of 24 of them that survive the fall and can be killed with one hit if I want to, giving me lots of XP. Or if I built it up to where there's 24, then the next ones that fall will just die automatically, and I can just sit here in AFK to get more bones and more arrows. So, pretty handy. Lots of goodies coming through. Lots of XP. So this has been a very successful skeleton spawner trap here that I've got. So I'm going to take some of these resources back to where I am building the lighthouse. I will see you there. So this is where it might start getting a little bit difficult on the building because I don't have any scaffolding blocks. I'm going to come over here and get some dirt. Not more dirt. I'll just use the mangrove roots as my scaffolding blocks. So I know I'm going to want to have a ladder right up here. I'm going to use a trick that I saw Good Times with Scar do. So I will do temporary blocks up here, and then I'm going to end up putting trapdoors here. Seem to have gotten my colors reversed here. It's going to be a little tricky to reverse this. So the whole lighthouse is going to be kind of this off-white because we're using the birch logs, and then moving into the sandstone, and then going up into the bone block just to show the weathering. My original plan, I had it like this bright, pure white with white concrete and calcite blocks, and the dirty areas being diorite, and it just was not looking right. So I decided that it needed a little bit more variation in the look of the texture. That's looking like a good start. All right, so from here, we're going to do the sandstone. For now, I'm just going to do one layer on top. See how that looks. And then I will add a little bit more variance to it. Yeah, let's have this come up just a little bit more. Actually, what I might have had was I might have had some birch planks in there as well. The birch planks are just a little bit lighter in color than the birch logs, but a little bit darker than the sandstone. So we're going to take all this sandstone back out again, and we're going to replace it with the birch planks. Yeah, that's a little better. That's a little bit better. Now, maybe we can get into doing the sandstone. So I'm actually not completely following my typical rule of threes. Usually I have what I call a rule of three when it comes to texturing in Minecraft. I only want 3 different blocks just to keep things a little simpler in the color palette. But in this case, I'm actually using 4. I'm doing the stripped birch logs, the birch planks, smooth sandstone, and then bone block on top of that. So I'm going to go all the way up to the top with the tower with this texturing going on, and then I will add the mangrove log and plank stripes after I get all that done. But I think I need to make myself some birch fence, unless I already have some. Nope, I only have oak fence. Six, I need 8. All right, both should do. I think that's 2 that I have there. I'm going to make it 2 now. Oh, I forgot there were 4 for each corner. I needed 16 total. Did I get both of them over here? I did. Now we're getting somewhere. I didn't want to use too dark of a wood. I wanted to have slightly stone-washed look from just decades upon decades of being exposed to the sea air. From here we need to do bone blocks. And this is where it's starting to get a little bit difficult to get up here. Guess this is as good a time as any to practice my water bucket clutch. Nope. All right, let's get some of that mangrove wood. All right, I'm going to get these trapdoors and ladders in place so we can get up to the top. I'll get these stripes put in, I'll get the ladders and the trapdoors put in, and then we'll continue building up a little bit higher here. So as I'm waiting for the copper to finish smelting, because that's what I'm going to be using for the upper catwalk area at the top of the lighthouse, I'm going to go up there. I do have some copper, but I'm going to add a little bit more to the ladder and get a few more details in up at the top. You can see I did put in a floor here. I may actually also put in one more floor about halfway up, but I want to get the top finished. I want to get the outside design of this finished first. We're going to have the ladder coming right up through the middle, and it's actually going to be on the inside of the light bulb. I don't know if light bulb is the right word for it, but that's what I'm calling it right now. Let's get a few corner details in here before I start adding the copper catwalk. And since this is next to what I consider the ocean, we are going to be letting the copper oxidize and become a nice green color. I'm not sure if I'm going to be putting a railing around this. Originally, I had planned that the ladder would come up on the outer part where the catwalk is, and then I'd have to have a railing just for looking realistic. But when I put the railing up there in my creative world, then it just didn't look right. It was covering a little too much of the actual lighthouse light. So I am not putting a railing up there. What I do need to do is go and get some shroom lights. My original plan with this was that I was going to be using redstone lamps and observers to make it so that the light was rotating around. But all my attempts at it in my creative world, I just didn't quite like the way it looked. Things were moving too fast, and I'm not that great at redstone, so I think I'm just going to go for a light that's on solid 100% of the time, and maybe later, if somebody has a good idea of how I can make it look better with redstone, then I may actually do that. But this is what it's going to be for now. Get one more ladder in here. All right, so I need to go and get my shroom lights, run back up to the top here so we can get the bulb in, and then once the shroom lights are in, I can actually put the cap on this thing, put the roof on. Might have enough here. 6, no, I need 24 of these, don't I? I'm gonna have to go get some more sand cooked up. I want to block off the light a little bit on the inside here. I have a tricky time getting that one that's behind the ladder. Then the other thing that I noticed is that things are looking a bit flat, especially on this lower side of the catwalk. So what we're going to do is just add a little bit of texture right along the sides here. And I think we'll do the same up here. Oh, that was startling. I think I also added a trapdoor where it doesn't belong. There we go. Yeah, just occurred to me that I don't have a way down from here. Let's try a bucket. Bucket clutch. Nope. I'll get it eventually. Copper fence would be really awesome. And we'll start building up with the brick and the granite. I have just made it so it's even more difficult for me to get down from here. I guess we might as well try that bucket clutch one more time. I seem to have built myself into a hole here. Appears as though I will have to tower up with my temporary blocks. What I don't want is for this place to turn into a mob spawner. Oh, not what I want to encounter right now. Especially since I am not wearing any of my armor. Maybe if I lure them into the water and slow them down. If they come over this way. Yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see if they're still over there. Might be able to get myself another ominous potion. Luckily, they are not very good swimmers. Oh, there were more of you guys. Where'd you all go? Well, I guess that'll have to do. You know what? Let's get rid of those. Let's replace those with stairs. That way we can get another hole block right here, and then we can do that. Perfect. Well, now I can see those bricks right there. Not sure how I feel about that, but I think I'll leave it like it is for now. Well, I like the way this looks from this distance. I think I want to get in my boat and I will go out to sea a little bit, take a look at what it looks like when we're coming in. I may wait until nighttime just to see how the light is glowing out of the lighthouse. But yeah, let's go check it out on a boat, and then I think that'll be it for today. Oh yeah, I really do like the way this looks as we approach it at night. You can really see the light that it's casting. I do think that maybe the roof line is a little bit too pointy, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. I'm going to let the tower sit, and who knows, maybe it'll grow on me. I may top off that wall and make it so it's not quite so pointy at the top. But this is looking really good. We're going to go to the shipyard, take a look at it from that angle, and then I think we'll be done for this episode. It's been a good episode. We got a lot accomplished. At the beginning of the episode, we only had a place where we wanted to build, and we got the whole lighthouse completed, and that included finding a skeleton spawner and building a skeleton grinder so we could get lots of bone meal. Yeah, I definitely like the way that lighthouse looks from here. It'll especially look good when that copper gets oxidized and has more of a green tint as opposed to the orange that's there. But I'm very happy with the way that lighthouse turned out. It's not overwhelmingly large. Well, as usual, thank you all for joining me for this episode in world building Oblivion, the Forgotten Lands. I appreciate you all watching. If you like the video, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. And also, if you want to get notifications for when I release new videos, don't forget to hit the bell icon. Everything helps, and I really appreciate you guys. I look forward to seeing you all next time.